Welcome back to Capsule Math by HannahE. On this lesson, this is our third lesson for working with positive and negative numbers. We're going to be learning how to multiply and divide positive and negative numbers. And I promise you these rules are the easiest ones you're going to learn. The most important thing to remember though, is you cannot confuse these rules with the ones for adding and subtracting. I cannot stress that enough. I hear students all the time do that, and it drives me crazy because it is incorrect. And I will show you as we go along some of the myths that are stated and how to avoid them. Okay. All right, let me update my board. We should be multiplying and dividing integers. Now, here's the cool thing. The cool thing is the rules for multiplying and dividing are exactly the same, so you don't have to learn two sets of rules. So we're multiplying and dividing positive and negative numbers. Okay. All right, so here's the first rule. When multiplying or dividing two positive numbers, the answer is always positive. So let's look at that. If I'm multiplying 6 times 5, my answer is a positive 30. If I'm dividing 42 divided by a positive 6, my answer is a positive 7. So whether I'm multiplying or dividing, if I'm dealing with two positive numbers, my answer is positive. Okay? Now, that was example 1. Here's example 2. If I am multiplying or dividing two negative numbers, okay? So let's say I have a negative 8 times a negative 4. My answer is going to be positive. So I have a positive 32. Okay? Now, let's say I was dividing two negative numbers. So let's say I have negative 48 divided by negative 6. My answer is going to be a positive 8. Okay? So, second rule states, when multiplying or dividing two negative numbers, the answer is always positive. Now, here's where you'll hear a common error. Two negatives make a positive. That only works if you are multiplying and dividing the integers. If you're adding them, two negatives could be a negative answer. If you're subtracting them, two negatives could be either positive or negative depending on the size of the number. Only when multiplying and dividing do two negatives make a positive. I've actually heard teachers say this, and it is incorrect. They should say two negative numbers make a positive answer only when multiplying and dividing. That's the only time. Okay. I've got to stress that. I see it. I watch students make errors on tests with it. When they start mixing algebra in with this, it gets even more confusing. Please listen to me. Okay. All right. So it's very, very simple. Two positive numbers multiplied together make a positive answer. Two positive numbers divided give a positive answer. Two negative numbers multiplied by each other give a positive answer, Two negative numbers multiplied together give a positive answer. Two negative numbers divided together give a positive answer. So 2 of the scenarios you have will give you a positive answer. So is there ever a case where you get a negative answer when multiplying or dividing? Yes, there is. Watch. Okay. So we have example 3. Let's say we have a positive 4 multiplied by a negative 5. When you multiply a positive by a negative, your answer will always be negative. So, negative 20. If I am dividing a negative 30 by a positive 10, my answer will always be negative. It's going to be a negative 3. So, when you are multiplying or dividing a positive and a negative, the answer is always negative. This does not apply for adding and subtracting, because if you think about it, if you're adding a positive and a negative number, depending on the size of the numbers, the answer could be negative or it could be positive. Okay? So this rule only applies to multiplication and division. I cannot stress that enough. All right, let's look at it one more time. Let's walk through it and review. We have 2 positives, gave a positive answer. 2 positives divided, gave a positive answer. 2 negatives multiplied, gave a positive answer. 2 negatives divided, gave a positive answer. A positive times a negative gives us a negative answer. A negative divided by a positive gives us a negative answer. And that's the only rules that you have to learn for multiplying and dividing positive and negative numbers. Thank you.